Hi, I'm a part of the Microcampus Wildfire Group, which is 23rd Microcampus group that came out to see Joe. Microcampus is a once-in-a-lifetime experience where 16 8th grade students come out for 28 days to a beautiful place called Sijo. The town has many fantastic areas to visit, and it's more than enough to do. We come out here to work on our selected inquiry project and service learning. Four main pillars drive our learning here in Sijo. These are expanding intercultural understanding, awareness of impact, personal growth, and working through challenges. Before arriving in Sijo, everyone chose a topic of their own interest. Mine personal interest was local food. I decided to choose local food of Sijo because I'm a huge fan of food and want to learn more about the different foods across the world. In order for my audience to understand my personal journey, I'm going to share my perspectives of China before, during, and after Sijo. In my life, I've been all over the world in just 13 years. I've lived in many different places such as Holland, Switzerland, Turkey, South Africa, and China. In all these places, I connected with the community in some way. I believe that in China, apart from the community of SAS, I have not been connected to China itself. The first time I stepped foot in China was 9 months ago. There have been many different opinions of China along the way. I have seen a few different places in China such as Beijing, Xi'an, and Shanghai. Visiting these few places expanded my knowledge about China. I used to believe that there are multiple unusual aspects to China even though I had not been to any rural places or local places where I could connect with the community. Before visiting Sijo, I had always been watching videos and hearing about these fantastic places in China that I would possibly visit, but these places are not necessarily famous places where all tourists would go. During my time in Sijo, I've made numerous connections throughout the community. This has always been a massive fantasy of mine, being part of another community and connecting with them. This showed me that no matter where you come from and where you've been, you can always be part of the community as long as you put the effort into it. Going out and doing my inquiry project along with the teacher's support was one of the best things about Microcampus. To be able to talk to experts about your personal interests gives you the best feeling you'll ever have. Even though there was a huge language barrier between me and the person I was talking to, the teacher's support helped me feel connected to the person I was having a conversation with. One example of the person who I talked to and had a great conversation with was with Mr. Yan. He's a professional Sijo baba maker at the northwest side of Sifanje. Mr. Yan is a great guy and always willing to talk. He has a huge smile when you walk past him. Now, every day after my conversation, I at least visit him once a day and say hi. This showed me that I made a great impact on the community. In Sijo, I feel like whenever I leave Yangzhou, it does not seem like it's the outside world, but I try to be part of the community and say hi to as many people as possible to show that I acknowledge them and care about them. I see Sijo now as another home of mine. Having been in Sijo for 28 days, I've made numerous connections, and I think I've made many more connections in these past 28 days in Sijo than I ever will in Shanghai. After spending 28 days here in Sijo, I think that in Shanghai there will also be a huge community that I can connect to. What I hope to do when I'm back in Shanghai is not only to connect back with people in my school, but to make larger connections outside of school. This means going out into the community, outside the SAS gates, and making new friends. That doesn't necessarily mean kids my age, but even people older that work in restaurants and staff. Because I know that I visit restaurants frequently, my first goal is to become more interactive with the restaurant staff so I can feel more connected to them and the Shanghai community. I think that Sijo has changed my perspective of China, knowing that there are many fantastic places like Sijo around China. I hope that in the future I will not only visit the big places where people go all the time, but go to more rural areas and local locations where you can make larger connections that I might not usually do. I think this will really put me out of my comfort zone and show my family a new side of China. Being in Sijo changed my perspective of China in many ways. I was not sure if I was able to converse so casually and freely amongst people in the community. However, after my experience going out and doing my inquiry project, I know that it is possible with some help to make the connections that I wanted. Being part of a larger community showed me how important it is to be aware of your actions and always be proud of what you do. My time in Sijo caused me to work hard and get out of my comfort zone. Being in such an amazing place for 28 days has changed me as a person in many ways. Microcampus is a life-changing experience that taught me many lessons which developed my strengths in personal growth, expanding intercultural understandings, working through challenges, and awareness of impacts. I have many people to thank for this beautiful experience. Firstly, Mr. Taffel, Miss Mai. Secondly, the Linden Center staff, and most definitely my parents. And let's not forget my fellow Microcampus students that came along with me on this amazing journey to Sijo.